This one's going to be a bit more ungrounded, I guess. Not very strictly objective, not very scientific. That's it's mostly from a comment that I've received. I do have comments all set to hold, and on it, I don't enable them. But some people still get through and send some stuff. I don't wish to just disable all comments because I'm here to teach and to bounce ideas off of each other and to inspire. And I can't do that if I'm just cutting myself off completely. But I have comments on hold just to take things at my own pace. But here goes. The comment went like this on this video that I had about protection, explaining protection. If you don't have context on this, you might want to check out that video and maybe come back here for more context. But the comment says, with the amount of wickedness of evil in the world, the evilest demons and snakes and spirits, Lucifer given control of them to them. Some from the days they were born, they were tormented, while Satan and the wicked ones controlled them to do evil things on others. So you see, you need the Holy Spirit of the only one Almighty Father God to guide you daily. As in Psalms 21, they went on listing a series of verses, 21, 27, 91, 33, and so on. And they went on and said, you can't serve two gods at the same time. You will love one and hate the other, as they are doing now. Hate the righteous, holy, loving one for the snake one called Son of Satan, Jesus Christ. Okay. So I'm guessing this person is very coming at it from the perspective that they taken. It's very but hey, let me just get straight to it. But I'll start off here by saying there might be heavy chunks of this video that I end up cutting out, simply because there's some stuff that I wish people to discover on their own accord without me telling you what to think or indoctrinating you, or that's not what I'm here for. That's not what I'm here for. I'm simply here as a speaker to share an alternative perspective, I guess. But anyways, anything I speak on from here on, from this point on, this is strictly my worldview and my beliefs and how I view things. But here goes, I'll start addressing this thing. So first off, to see something and to label something as evil or wicked or demonic or bad or satanic or whatever, that's coming from it in a very judgmental, unpure, unaware, and I guess if you wish to use a scientific term, neurotic or based in neuroses. That viewpoint coming from that viewpoint, it's basically placing oneself a situation where you you are you are embracing separation in your mind. And if you don't know what that's called the illusion of Maya. Maya, when you fall to the illusion of Maya, that's basically you seeing that everything is dual and opposite and polar. And that's not the nature of pure consciousness, pure divine benevolent consciousness. That's just not the nature of that state of being. So to be able to see another and cast them out and say, you are the wicked, that's not very loving. It's not very pure. And in fact, it is a devilistic perspective to view the situation, because that's the trick. That's the trick. To see this. I don't want to get too deep into psychodynamics here, but it is a self-deception in itself, basically. Just to point fingers and to call the other as demon or devil, or that's you not looking within and not wanting to self-reflect and gain insight on things. So you put your problems out there, and then you point fingers, and then that's enough of a distraction to stop reflecting and do not self-reflect. That's the nature of the impure side of consciousness. It's not very self-reflective. It shies away. It uses all sorts of tricks, deceptions, demonizations to not self-reflect. And it's a very, very, very highly neurotic mind. And the only way you can start to heal from that illusion of Maya, that illusion of separation, because there's separation. Separation is a neurotic trait. It is based in neuroses to see something as separate and to cast it and say you're not worthy of love, going to extremes to demonize something. It's not a compassionate way to approach the perceived evil, and in fact, doing that will make the evil even more evil. That's that's the nature of it all. But even Christ got crucified on a cross, and he saw through all the illusion of Maya. He saw through it all. So he was not even capable of demonizing those soldiers that crucified him and spat in his face. He was not even capable of demonizing them. He saw through all of the illusion of Maya and said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. He simply saw them in their sleep state because they were in the illusion of Maya. Christ is a mirror of the infinite in human form. So it's a very good example to look upon, to see what state of consciousness one should seek to live in, if that makes sense. That's being the love and the light of God, or source consciousness, Christ consciousness. It's this, there's so many names for this thing now, it's ridiculous. And it's causing more separation and more polarization and more demonization, and the list goes on. It's not our fault, so it's not our fault really. It's part of where we came from. We came from a very survivalistic mindset. But if you keep repeating the same things, there's never going to be any change. You demonizing is going to make the demon worse, or whatever you call the demon, the perceived demon, because there's not really any true demons. We all have a role to play. So be the thing that you wish the demons to stop being. Love one another. So I recently seen this quote. On Instagram. It said, "Judge nothing and you'll be happier. Forgive everything and you'll be even more happier." And what was the last one? Love everything. That's the most important one. Because love connects to lack of judgment and forgiveness. If you are embodying the highest form of love, you simply become incapable of judging and criticizing one another. That state simply disappears within you. It's something you're no longer capable of. And also, if you are embodying the highest form of love, you're also incapable of resentment and being and blaming and playing victim. You're just incapable of this. And that's the purity of love. That's reflecting the love and the light of source consciousness, Christ consciousness. And that goes on to another point. A lot of people say, if there's a good loving God, a benevolent God up in heaven, Father up in heaven, or whatever, if this good God exists, why do evil people go on living very pleasant lives, and lots of good people that are on their knees and praying every day never get what they desire, or the fruits of their labor, or whatever? That's a very common saying, especially amongst atheists and people that starts to question, people that's in the middle and questioning. And that statement itself even creates more of the polarization and the separation, because you tend to, when you start asking this question, you tend to fall into two extremes, where one set of people choose to take on the perspective that we have this God that's governing this world, and he sat there playing favorites of who he wishes to who and when he wishes to answer prayers or cast judgment upon. Because a lot of people see the good people that's that's living good lives and say, oh, you got something coming for you. Just you wait. But essentially, that's still them putting that perspective that God plays favorite. And then you have this other set of people that simply dismisses the idea of that there's even a God in the first place, simply because that dynamic is able to exist in the physical world. That good people can not have their prayers answered and their desires and live good lives, and bad people live in good lives. And some people just dismiss the idea that God exists because of this fact. And it's a lot more nuanced than this. It's a lot more nuanced than this. And because that perspective, coming at the situation from that perspective, is already you succumbing and giving away to the illusion of Maya again. And but I'll deconstruct this dynamic as best as I can, because this is very tricky to navigate. So you might get a lot of pauses from me. So I'll maybe chop up the video a bit, but I need to conceptualize. I'm thinking of this on the spot. It's unrecited and genuine Sama. You have genuine Sama, genuine me. All right. So I'll start off with, again, rewinding back to the story of creation. Eden. So source, when I say source, that's just a container word. Label it whatever you wish. Christ, Buddha, Big Bang, whatever. There's loads of names and everyone's fighting, but that's just a distraction. That's beside the point. I'll say source from here on out. Source. So source was once everything there is. And there was nothing that that source doesn't encapsulate within. And source knows where every single atoms of this universe is located with absolute precision. In other words, source is aware of itself. Source is aware of all the fragments of itself. Source is aware of all of the many sources that lives within itself. Source experiences also all the experiences of its own fragments. So through consciousness and awareness, source experiences all, everything. I know that's a bold statement, but I guess you make what you wish of it. But moving on. Because source sees every fragment of itself as itself, so the highest level of source is not in the illusion of Maya. That's what it means to love selflessly. Absolute compassion. And because source sees everything as a reflection of itself, even atoms. Atoms are also kind of conscious, especially when you get into quantum mechanics. But anyways, if you wish to limit consciousness to just animals, and fine, that's whatever. That's beside the point. But Source is incapable of playing favorites because it sees all as one. To be able to, this is why it's not possible to judge and be critical of something else, be it anything, if you are living in the highest state in divine union with Source. But so this is why Source, this is why it's possible to have some people that do horrendous stuff that lives good lives, and some people that, but essentially we are all fragments of Source. Source lives within us all and experiencing all that we experience. That's what it means to have a divine connection. Whether you are aware of it and whether you wish to acknowledge it or not, that's up to you. But prayers is in itself a form of manifestation and meditation. Maybe not of the highest maybe not in the most optimal way, but it's still valid. It's still a valid way of manifesting and meditating. But it all comes down to willpower. So if you sat there praying for your whole entire life and you do not take any single ounce of willpower that you have, if you do not utilize any single ounce of willpower that you have, that's incentive for you to fall in that situation of praying for your whole life and being the good servant Christian or Muslim or whatever, or Buddha, Hindu, whatever, and never able to manifest what you wish. And on the other spectrum, for the people that do the bad stuff, bad is bad. I don't wish to use that word because it's so loose and so, but let's move on. That there, karmic law balances. It balances. It's a divine balance. So, because they were born in a certain, situation, yeah? Maybe they were born maybe they had bad stuff happen in their childhood, and then they turned out to be a criminal, I guess. That, in a sense, is, I don't know if you believe in the cycle of life and rebirth, but that's, in a sense, you realizing something fundamental that you needed to realize at the point of death. And then karmic law sends you back into the world, and it's not so much that it's God that's punishing you. No, you chose this of your own accord. Because when we die, we go back to the Father. We go back to Source. Or some people say heaven or whatever. It's all the same. And at that point, when you're in union at the highest unity with Source, you have already left your body. So you have nothing, no more attachments. Just purity. Simple. And then you chose to descend back into the physical and a new fetus or egg or whatever. And you chose to do this to learn a lesson. The lesson everyone needs to learn is different. And that's up to you to figure out which lesson you are here to learn. But even the evildoers has a lesson. And that lesson needs to be connected with. And as long as you do not learn the lesson, the karmic wheel spins on and on and on. That's the illusion of Maya. That dualistic reference point where there's no balance in the state of being that you are in. And until you find that balance, to balance all dualities, liberal, conservative, Christian, atheist, there's millions and millions and millions of dualistic standpoints from the illusion of Maya, simply because we have fragmented and calcified to material. It's an attachment to material, a soul tied to material, straying away from Source. And you see that beauty there? Do you see that beauty there? Stray away from Source. And that's most of us humans. Even the Christian ones, even the loving religious ones, and even some of the highest Buddhist monks still trapped in the illusion of Maya. And I'm not sat here excluding myself, but that's for me to reflect on. So don't think I'm just sat here on a high horse and I'm just looking down on everyone. But no, this is not the position that I'm taking here. But in a sense, to sum everything up, if you take anything from this video, to be stuck in the illusion of Maya is equal to you not acknowledging that all is within, and you must love all. And you can say this and you can hear this from me, but until you realize that knowledge and realization are two different things, until you realize that you'll always be stuck in the illusion of Maya, and you won't be able to what's the word I'm looking for? Unite with and embody and express the highest form of love, Christ consciousness. Because Christ consciousness is not of the physical. It's abstract. And whenever people try to put labels onto it, like a name, or what the hell? There's some stickers here. Anyways, when people try to put some labels onto it, like a name, or a skin color, or even a body, even a body. There's now, because Christ is one of the highest embodiment of source consciousness and physical matter and physical form. So we have this further polarization of even religion, simply because we have thrown our willpower into something outside of ourselves. And that's basically polarizing yourself from that Christ consciousness. It might seem like you're trying to connect to that Christ consciousness on the surface, but if you look deeper, if you start to self-reflect, if you start to try to become more pure and harness more pure states of consciousness, you'll understand that the main message of spirituality is within. And reality has no choice but to simply reflect to you what your insides look like. Not physically, but your state of being. So that's why you have dynamics, energetical dynamics that shows you the more you judge something, the more of it that you pull into your reality and into your perception. So but don't take my word for it. See for yourself. Observe the world. Observe the world out there. The world echoes this. But hey, so that's the thoughts and the things that I'd like to communicate here. But I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.